Korriban Gaming. You may know him as a YouTuber who plays a variety of Artix Entertainment games, and have heard him refer to himself as the second largest DragonFable YouTuber. You may have seen his custom face in Adventure Quest. You may have listened to his interviews with the DragonFable developers, or followed his guide videos on how to play DragonFable or beat in challenges. But most importantly, you should know that he's a shameless, unrepentant cheater. Hello, and welcome back to Astro Codex's channel. In this video, I'll talk about Korriban Gaming's history of cheating scandals in DragonFable, including his most recent attempt at fraudulently acquiring real money prizes from the Dragon's Graphs Discord server by hacking the game last December. I'll present the evidence I found over the course of a week-long investigation, detailing 4 separate instances of cheating occurring over 5 years, as well as his continued attempts at lying and gaslighting others to cover his tracks and appear clean. Finally, I'll conclude by sharing my opinions on the matter. Before we begin, I'd like to start by saying that this video is not an invitation to harass Korriban. Please be respectful and polite. If you cannot be civil to his face, I'd like to request that you personally refrain from interacting with him entirely. In the interest of full disclosure, while I have been a moderator for the Falcon's Nest DragonFable Discord since December of 2020, this video and its accompanying document do not represent the official judgment of the Falcon's Nest Discord, but instead my own personal opinion. Any inaccuracies within are my own. If you listen to Korriban Gaming, you've probably heard that he was banned from the Falcon's Nest Discord because the server is an echo chamber full of toxic elitists that dislike him for his free-thinking ways. However, if you ever listen to literally anyone else involved, you'll instead hear that Korriban was banned in mid-2020 for breaking the server rules by hacking in 22 rare items, and that he has since decided to spend the next year and a half smearing the server in retaliation. Let's start with some history. In DragonFable, a rare item is one that can no longer be acquired. Around mid-2020, it was noticed by a member of the Falcon's Nest Discord that Korriban Gaming had acquired Dark Chrono Keeper 9, a rare item from 2014 that previously did not appear on his character page. This prompted them to investigate further, discovering that Korriban had hacked a total of 22 items over the course of several years. They eventually alerted the Discord moderators to this fact. After an investigation by the moderation team, Korriban was subsequently banned. Note that I was not involved in this decision. I was not around to see the evidence at the time, as I would not become a Discord moderator in Falcon's Nest for another half a year. Korriban will no doubt claim that all of this is lies and slander, and that he was banned with no evidence because the moderation team was out to get him. However, this claim would, ironically, be a blatant lie in itself. In fact, over the course of my independent investigation, using only publicly available information, I was able to find conclusive evidence of Korriban Gaming cheating in rare items. Let's start by looking at archives of his character page. Korriban Gaming acquired his first Dragon Amulet, or DA, on January 16th of 2016. Yet, on this April 2020 capture of his character page, he has a total of 23 rare items that predate his Dragon Amulet purchase, of which 20 require a Dragon Amulet to use, and another item, the Dark Noble Helm, that costs 400 Dragon Coins, or DCs. Even on his current character page, we can still find 3 Dragon Amulet tagged rares that predate his Dragon Amulet purchase in January 2016. It is clear that Korriban cannot have acquired all of these items legitimately. To understand why, recall that in DragonFable, non-Dragon Amulet players cannot use the bank to store anything. Therefore, if Korriban acquired these items legitimately at the time that they were released, every single rare he had in his 2020 character page must appear in his inventory before he acquired his dragon amulet in January of 2016. By combing through video footage from his pre-2016 videos, we can see that this is clearly not the case. For example, as of his January 2015 video, the only rare item that appears in his inventory is a non-DA tagged Ancient Nanner 9. Skipping ahead to his March 2015 video, we can see that this is still the only rare in his inventory. The same is true of his videos from May 2015, June 2015, October 2015, November 2015, and even December 2015. As a full 19 of the 22 other rares became fully unavailable before his December 2015 video, yet none of these rares have appeared in his inventory at any point. We can say with absolute certainty that Korriban hacked in 19 of the 22 other rares. Amazingly, Korriban seems to have no qualms whatsoever about displaying hacked items in his later videos. For an example of his shamelessness, he used his hacked Dark Noble helm in a total of 10 videos from April 2016 to January 2018. Again, this is a 400 Dragon Coin rare item from 2012 that did not appear in his inventory in any of his videos from 2015 or before, but then suddenly became his go-to helm for over a year and a half starting April of 2016. He also uses the Ultimate Dragon Amulet Scythe of the Elementals in some videos. This is a 500 Dragon Coin, Dragon Amulet tagged item that was available only in June of 2013, but which also never appears in his inventory until 2016. Despite the plethora of rock-solid evidence of his cheating, Korriban still persists in trying to gaslight people, blatantly lie about publicly verifiable content, or shift the blame away from himself whenever people ask him about his ban. Soon after he was banned from the Falcon's Nest Discord in 2020, he released a video titled About the DragonFable Community, in which he called out the quote-unquote toxic elitism of the Falcon's Nest Discord. In this video, he blamed the server for dividing the community and killing the game, claimed that criticism of his content is quote, basically bullying and harassment, unquote, and even implied that he was unjustly banned because people were jealous of his guide videos. Needless to say, any comments made criticizing him or providing evidence of his cheating were conveniently deleted. In addition, when people bring up the topic of his ban, Korriban often sends gigantic text walls to them in direct messages instead of just answering in public. In these text walls, he constantly misrepresents the truth. Let's look at an example. After Sylvie asked him about his ban in the AQ-focused GOG's Discord server, Korriban did not respond in public, but instead sent him this massive text wall. In this text wall, he starts out by lying, saying he was banned for hacking, quote, way back in the days before he started making videos, even though there's ironclad evidence that his hacking did not start until after December 2015 by the earliest, a full year after his first DragonFable video in late 2014. Korriban then says that the hacked rare items were added before he was given an account, another obvious lie. After 3 paragraphs complaining about the quote-unquote elitism of the Falcon's Nest Discord, he then lies again and said that the rules were specifically changed to ban him, even though he was nowhere near the first person to be banned from Falcon's Nest for cheating. To further underscore how shameless a lie this is, Korriban even knows some of the people that were banned before him, and yet still makes this lie. To put it bluntly, this is not the behavior of someone who cheated, regretted their cheating, and tried to make amends. This is the behavior of someone who justifies his own bad behavior using whataboutism and gaslighting. And as we shall soon see, this is someone who would go on to continue cheating, content in his ability to distort the truth. While investigating Korriban's history of hacking rare items, I was alerted to another discrepancy on his character page. As of April 2020, his character page has a total of 13,925 war waves completed, but Korriban has a total of 30,605 Defender's Medals worth of DM gear, as well as an additional 5,224 DMs in inventory. This means that Korriban had 21,904 more DMs than war waves. In DragonFable, each war wave gives a single Defender's Medal, and until late 2019, there was no real, consistent alternative to acquiring Defender's Medals outside of wars. That being said, this could be possibly explained, though extraordinarily unlikely, by his counterbreak in the 2019 Frostval War. Since the Black Winter War of January 2017, the DragonFable war counter only counts up to 10,001 waves. That is, after 10,001 war waves on a single character, the counter is broken and stays at 10,001 thereafter. At the time, I thought that it was certainly possible, albeit unlikely, that Korriban, despite his claims to the contrary on Discord, acquired an additional 20,000 Defender's Medals from this war. I even argued in defense of Korriban. It was then found that this isn't sufficient to explain the discrepancy. In this December 2017 video, Korriban has Elemental Unity 15, Defender's Dragon Ring 29, and Defender's Dragon Belt 20, totaling 11,940 Defender's Medals worth. Yet, if we cross out the wars that occurred after December 2017 from his character page, we can see that he only has 1,037 total waves. This, to me, is basically inescapable evidence that he cheated in his Defender Medal gear. When I confronted him about this and suggested the counter-break explanation, Korriban's response was to stall for 6 minutes and immediately begin privating his old videos. He lied to my face when I asked him about this, claiming that the videos I saw were made private, quote, a while back, even though I was looking at some of them as he was privating them. I even managed to record this footage at the time of him privating a video while I was watching. Eventually, he would private over 20 videos, including every single one of his DragonFable videos before December 2017, and most importantly, over a dozen videos that contained solid evidence of his cheating. And as we know, deleting evidence when confronted is the true hallmark of an innocent man. Later on in the same conversation, he then claimed that he got the missing 22,000 worth of Defender's Medals from the Fires Over Outtro quest. To understand why this is also a lie, you should know that Fires Over Outtro is an old quest consisting of a bombing minigame that takes a bit over 3 minutes per run average with perfect play. Years ago, it used to drop Defender's Medals. If Korriban acquired 22,000 Defender's Medals from this quest legitimately, then he must have spent almost 1,100 hours straight in Fires Over Outtro. All this when he could have spent 60 hours catapulting during a war to get the gear. Yes, it's certainly possible that Korriban did play perfectly for 1,100 hours at Fires Over Outtro, even though he hacked other items and has even admitted to doing so. It's also certainly possible that there's a lot of hot singles in your area who just need your credit card to talk to you. That still doesn't mean that you should click that sketchy ad. As with his hacked rares, Korriban is also not afraid to display his hacked DM gear in videos, and even use the hacked DM gear to get roles in community discords. And as with his hacked rares, he is also perfectly willing to blatantly lie and gaslight others in order to protect his own image. Before we talk about his current Warwave cheating scandal, let's talk about another time where he got a suspiciously low amount of gold in a war. Namely, the 2019 Friday the 13th Frostval War. The 2019 Frostval War was the first war that Korriban counterbroke, that is, did 10,001 waves in. During the war, his gold gains did not match up to his war wave count, raising suspicion. Most of this evidence has unfortunately been lost to time, so the only concrete, hard evidence I could find in my investigation was this. In the December 14th video, where he has 0 war waves, he has 2,285,207 gold. He then counterbroke, that is, he got 10,001 waves, at 10:25 AM on December 23rd, 9 days later. In his December 24th video, a day after that, he has 2,336,111 gold, only 50,904 more than his December 14th video. To explain why this is suspicious, we need to explain how the war worked. The war has 3 types of waves: foot waves, which give about 150 gold per wave, supply runs, which give 27 gold if you play optimally, and significantly more if you mess up, and catapults, which give 30 gold per wave. From his character page, we can see that he killed 277 rare waves. As you could only get rare waves from foot waves, and the rare wave chance in this war was 5%. This implies that he had 5,540 foot waves on average. Let's round that to 5,500 for convenience. This would have given him 825,000 gold. Then, let's suppose he got 30 gold average on the remaining waves through a combination of catapults and almost optimal supply runs. These waves would have given him 135,000 gold, meaning that he should have gotten around 960,000 gold total from this war. And yet between his 2 videos, he only gained a bit under 51,000 gold. That being said, it's certainly possible, albeit very unlikely, that he just happened to spend around 900,000 gold that week, even despite the fact that no major gold sinks were being released around that time. I'm sure Korriban will claim that this is what happened. By itself, this isn't enough evidence to say definitively that Korriban hacked in this war. To know for sure that Korriban was hacking in a war, we need a recording of his character page where his wave count was going up, but his gold was not. And in late December of 2021, that's exactly what we got. Finally, we arrive at Korriban's most recent cheating scandal. On December 24th of 2021, DragonFable released the Grand Snow Fight War, the latest in a series of Frostval wars around Christmas time. On the 26th, Moth, the owner of the Dragon's Graph's Discord server, announced a contest for this war. The first 3 players who counterbroke in the war, that is, completed 10,001 war waves, would receive gift certificates worth 10,000 Artix points apiece, or in other words, worth $50 each. Korriban soon expressed interest and joined the contest. However, on the morning of the 28th, it was noticed once again that he was gaining war waves without getting gold. Fortunately, this time, a player by the name of Primo managed to record it happening. We'll start with this clip, where Korriban has 1,742 war waves. Remember the gold count at this point, 5,177,985. Notice that as he gets another war wave, his gold does not go up. Let's skip about 75 minutes into the future. Not only has Korriban's gold count stood still at 5,177,985, despite gaining 152 war waves. Once we refresh the page and see him with another wave, his gold count still does not go up. In this war, every single legitimately completed war wave gives between 32 and 200 gold with no X boost. For over 150 war waves to all give 0 gold is completely impossible for a legitimate player. Instead, the only possibility is that he is hacking the game to increase his war waves, instead of doing them legitimately. After Primo presented this evidence to the Dragon's Grass moderation team, several members of the team, including Moth himself, verified that Korriban was still gaining war waves without gold. As a result, Korriban was immediately removed from the Dragon's Grass war leaderboards and banned from participating in all future Dragon's Grass contests and giveaways. When he was confronted with this evidence by the Dragon's Grass moderators, Korriban continued to offer yet more lies. He first claimed that he was buying many gold items and doing infights while warring, spending exactly the same amount of gold as he was getting. While this is already ridiculous on the face of it, this is clearly falsified by the video evidence. He had hundreds of waves where he didn't gain gold after his wave count went up. There are simply no NDA items or in-challenges that cost the exact same as every single Grand Snowfight war wave. It's also falsified by looking at the archives of his character page. By comparing the items he had on December 26th to the items he had on December 28th, we can see which items, if any, he purchased during this period. And the results show that the only new item he acquired in this period is Snow Repose 9, an item that costs only Defender's medals and no gold. In other words, he acquired exactly 0 items that cost gold between December 26th and December 28th. He then posited an entirely new, previously unencountered bug on character pages, such that his gold count never went up, even though every other part of the character page was functioning correctly. Just at face value, it's already absurdly unlikely, especially since every single other character page was functioning perfectly at the time. But his own videos reveal that this is a lie as well. We can see in his video on December 24th that he has around 5.16 million gold and 0 war waves. In his December 28th video, we can see that he has around 5.18 million gold and 2,221 war waves, which matches the gold and war waves on his archive character pages almost exactly. In the interests of being fully fair to Korriban, I decided to do my own independent investigation on the matter. And I was able to eventually find one other example of someone's war waves going up despite no increase in gold. Unfortunately for Korriban, that one player immediately admitted to cheating when confronted, and unlike Korriban, graciously accepted his ban from the Falcon's Nest Discord. As a result, I don't think there's any real reason whatsoever to doubt that Korriban was cheating in the 2021 Frostval War. Knowing him though, I'm sure he will keep coming up with even more absurd and blatant lies, and continue to smear those who dare criticize him or call out his bad behavior. Let's summarize my thoughts on this matter by answering a series of questions. First, did Korriban hack to acquire rare gear? Yes. The evidence based on archived character pages and his earlier videos is incontrovertible. He has even admitted as such on some occasions in private DMs. Second, do I think that Korriban cheated in the recent war with the intent of fraudulently winning $50 worth of APs? Yes. The evidence of him hacking in the recent war is also incredibly solid, and casts doubt on all of his previously claimed achievements in wars. Do I think that Korriban hacked his DM gear? The evidence here is not as strong as for the previous 2 cheating incidents, but I'm pretty darn sure, given he claims to have farmed almost 22,000 Defender's medals from fires over Outtro, and given his past history of hacking items. And I think that the most damning fact here is that when I confronted him, instead of offering an explanation or taking the one that was given to him, his first action was to immediately private all his old videos to hide evidence. Do I think that Korriban cheated to counterbreak in the 2019 Frostval War? The evidence here is again not as strong, but I think it is more likely than not, especially in light of the ironclad evidence of his cheating in his most recent war. Do I think that Korriban should be allowed to participate in any contests for APs, hero points, or other paid prizes? The answer to this is ultimately up to the organizers, but I would strongly recommend against it. I know that many others, including the moderators of both large DF discords, would strongly agree. Why have no other community members publicized this evidence until now? One of the answers here is that many people are afraid of retaliation and the hassle it would bring. This is why many people who helped this investigation have chosen to remain anonymous. Korriban is the second largest active DF YouTuber, with over 2,200 subscribers, and has an incredibly thin skin. As we've mentioned before, he responds to offhand remarks criticizing his videos or asking about his previous cheating by DMing people with massive text blocks. Here's another such text block he sent to me, for example, in response to these comments made primarily by other people in the Falcon's Nest Discord server. When he was banned from the Falcon's Nest server in mid-2020 for cheating to acquire rare items, he made a video calling out the quote toxic elitism unquote of the Falcon's Nest server, and even blamed the server for killing the game, while deleting every comment that provided evidence of his cheating. This is not someone who will gladly take the hit and humbly move on, but instead someone who will use every resource he has to lash out at those who call him out. I'm sure that avoiding the potential headache is a big reason why he has not been banned from the Dragon's Grass Discord server. In a similar vein, I will understand why Artix Entertainment may be reluctant to cheater mark him or ban him due to his large YouTube following, despite his blatant and continued cheating, lying, and general bad behavior. So in the end, why should you care about all of this? Because in a tight-knit community like DragonFable, we shouldn't let cheaters flourish. We shouldn't support people who will happily scam you out of your money, hack and friendly community leaderboards to gain clout, and spread lies and misinformation to present a better image of themselves. Don't witch hunt anyone. Don't attack others. Just stop supporting a person who cares more about his own reputation, view count, and bottom line than his integrity or the game itself. Once again, this isn't a call to harass anyone. Instead, ignore Korriban and support the developers and the rest of the community. I'm also not saying you have to watch my channel, but there are tons of creative and talented people in the community who love the game and who deserve your support. As you've seen from a mountain of evidence, Korriban Gaming is not your friend. He will see you as a view count or potential subscriber if it's convenient, while repeatedly cheating at one of the very games he claims to care about. And if you criticize him or dare to ask him an honest question, he will gaslight you and bend the truth at every turn. Thanks for watching this, hopefully one-of-a-kind, video. I'd like to offer my gratitude to members of the Falcon's Nest and Dragon's Grass Discords who helped with this video. In particular, I'd like to offer my gratitude to Primo, Santiago, Sylvie, Jeff, Vignesh, and others who wish to remain anonymous for their invaluable role in bringing this evidence to light. If you're interested in seeing more of the evidence yourself, please check out the 15-page long evidence document linked in the description. Due to the controversial nature of this topic, I will be watching the comments very carefully. Please be respectful and polite. Hopefully, I'll be able to return to my normal style of content soon. Until then, thanks again for watching, and good luck.